Colonel Wyatt hits the screen, got stories bold and keen. Old soldier, sharp and mean, tells truths they've never seen. Rugby lover with a roar, Africa flowing in his core. YouTube rants they can't ignore, his passion makes his heart soar. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Military mind, keen and wise, truths come out, no disguise. South African skies, in his eyes, hear his voice, no surprise. Retired soldier with the fight, in the dark he brings the light. Angry rants, truths ignite, join the cause, join the ride. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Enemies knocked on his door, trolls attack, but he's more with each click. Watch him soar on the truth waves, he explodes. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Right now, don't miss the brawl.
Take a picture.
Well, I can answer that for Chris. It's for him. No, seriously.
I'd rather have him answer.
Yeah, I'd rather answer. It will be.
Our president will respond to you.
Yeah, let me.
Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me.
Influence, move with a practiced grin, shaking hands with the lights that dim. The White House walls heard his claim to fame, but the shadows whispered a different name. Oh, am I false? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Pretending blind to the cries at home, while the streets of SA ache and moan. Right, the man with the golden hue, but the deal fell flat and the lies broke through. Oh, am I fool? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. Behind closed doors, the mask came off. No suits there's no ties, just shadows aloft. The past screams loud from the buried ground. Now the silence breaks with a deafening sound. Oh, where are my thoughts? Oh, what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. The horrors rise from a nation torn. Whispers turn to cries of scorn. History's weight won't stay concealed. Every wound must one day heal. Oh, where are my thoughts? So what's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You played the game but lost your way. Now the world sees the price you pay. What's the cost? Truth uncovered, bridges crossed. You pay.
And they're doing precisely what we said we as South Africans should not do. We should stop running to other countries. We should discuss our own problems here.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
Hey folks, welcome. Tonight I've got a few things to say, so grab your popcorn and turn off the fake news. Welcome back to the program. It's Night Owls, and since my return from South Africa about 2 weeks ago with some kind of crud I picked up there as they fell into winter, have really felt up to doing a midnight broadcast, a late night Night Owls here on the East Coast and early morning in Europe and South Africa. Tomorrow in those places as well as points further east. Haven't really felt like it. Still have a little bit of the nonsense going on, but feeling about 90% now. Also, I've been running myself ragged for the past 2 weeks with the election, then with Memorial Day, plus all the videos, the interviews. I've done 3 interviews of refugees since they came back. And I took a count earlier as I was updating the Indaba Africa Substack with the videos that I had not put on there since, gosh, May. So that's updated now. Since April 13th, I updated all videos that were relevant for the refugee. We're now up to 47 videos, I think, on there that talk about refugee program. I have, since January 1st, done 272 live streams in the United States and in South Africa, and prepared 382 researched and prepared videos. That's 654 videos in 5 months. Folks, that's over 130 videos per month divided by 3. That's 4 videos per day, including live streams. I've done 654 videos. It's been a hard press, but there's been a lot of worthy news stories to talk about, and so that's what I've been doing this year. Not trying to impress anybody, just stating the facts. You can all go check it out and see that that's how much I've done. So if anybody questions whether I give this my full effort, and this isn't even my full-time job, this is something I do on the side. I do this on the side. My full-time job is consulting, and that is eating up a lot of my time too. So let me say hello to everybody in the chat. It's kind of interesting now. We're 84 people watching since this wasn't announced, and I haven't done a Night Owls since I first got back. So a lot of people caught off guard that there's a broadcast at this hour. In fact, I don't see Francois de Jager, who usually shows up at this time, or Mad Max. I don't see either one of them. But welcome to all of you here. It's almost kind of intimate like we were back in December. 86 people in the live stream, so I can chat with everybody. Not that I mind having 1,500 or 5,000 people live stream. That's pretty awesome. But it's also nice for once to just have a small audience. 3 people just disappeared, or did you lose the internet? Fight. Anthony Matthew Van Black is here. Chantal Fenta. Dylan Combrick is 34 years old today. He was saying something about being old. Come on, Dylan. That's not even close to being old. Who you kidding? Happy birthday to Dylan Combrick. Happy birthday to you. Wow. So June 1st is your birthday. That's pretty cool. It's May 31st still here. So from the past, I wish you a happy birthday on your birthday, Dylan. Dylan's one of the OGs. Been with us since the very beginning. Chantal Fenter. Auto thing is on. I don't know how to take it off. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. We need your auto. Stop putting all these things in here. Hendo's here. Welcome, Hendo. Our early hours for him. Alfonso Ferreira. Okay. Jack Up is here. Inkwell Odyssey. Light rain is in from the West Coast. Still early out there. It's only 8 o'clock on the West Coast. Cherry says hello. And then that was before we even got started. Len Crow is here. Yolande Momo is here. Anthony Math already said that. Floy is here. AJ Quinn, hello to you. Amini Furi, welcome. Peter Edward Schultz. Bobby B rarely catches the intro. Well, I changed them up, especially for Night Owls. Let's turn off the cake. That's for Dylan. Happy birthday to Dylan. His happy 34th birthday. May you have 100 more yet to come. CB is here. I miss CB. Toinette Maxed says the internet's getting worse by the day. Well, that's a shame. Cinderella, morning shout out to the Colonel for being the voice we lost a long time ago. Well, thank you for that. Sue, hello. And who else we got here? Really dig the baby Trump. Yeah, the baby Trump is awesome. I like that one because he says, you know, everyone except California. Not just kidding, maybe. And then he says, get out your popcorn, turn off the fake news. It's going to be interesting. Yep, that's kind of my news thing, you know. In the past, Colonel had intro song, We Will Rise, inspirational, but we have no idea where the artist is. We Will Rise. I've got several of them. Which one was that? We've got the Diplomatic. I'm not sure which one that was, so hope you feel better. Thank you so much for that. Husband started talking about your videos this week before I started watching them, saying I'm damn happy I did start. Well, I'm glad you're watching them too, Enemy. Rowan with an H. Okay. Leslie Ann Moon, welcome to you. Mike is in. My goodness, Mike, you're up late. What's going on? And Mike is over in the Philly area. Lindy Tutoy, you're very welcome for my hard work. Marius Fenter's here. Hey, Marius. And Momo says, we see the amount of work you do. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. And folks wishing Dylan a happy birthday. Thank you for doing that, folks. Gina Mulmont, Isabel Blotkop is here. Are there any grits in Pennsylvania? Yeah, you can get grits here, but I don't know why. It's vile. It's like eating pop. It's disgusting. I can eat grits. The Army would have grits in their mermites they'll bring around to when we were in field, and the NCOs would bring it around when I was a young troopy, and it was vile. You'd have to pour tons of maple syrup on it just so you could eat it. It's disgusting. It's like pop. It's bland. Ugh, who would want to eat that stuff? Anyway, so folks, yeah. So I started reading a new book because I finished the Midway book, and I've started a new book, which I carried with me all the way to South Africa, and I never got to read it. This is by a historian, not an epidemiologist, called The Mosquito, Human History of Our Deadliest Predator. This is the thing that has shaped civilizations more than warfare, more than nuclear weapons, more than politics, more than any general, any admiral, any Khan in the history of humankind. Mosquitoes, and malaria especially, but not exclusively malaria, but primarily malaria, what it's done. So I thought I would read a segment from it that's apropos for Southern Africa, because I heard Panul tell some stories about Southern Africa that were factually incorrect about history, and I've seen people call me a YouTuber, not realizing I'm a historian or not caring. And yes, there is an Easter egg on the shelf behind you, in case you're wondering, folks. Oh, you watched a documentary on mosquitoes today? Well, I just thought I'd share this little section here with you that, as I was reading early in the book. So let me just read a section here for you and see what you have to say about this. So the advent of sickle cell had immediate impacts and enduring repercussions for Africa and its people. Mosquito populations boomed with the emergence of Bantu-speaking plantain and yam farmers in West Central Africa around 8,000 before Christ. Devastating year-round falciparum malaria quickly took root. Human natural selection countered by affording Bantu peoples protection through hereditary sickle cell. As malaria spread and began to raise non-immune populations, the Bantu, armed with their immunological advantage in iron weapons, slashed south and east across Africa. The yams they cultivated also reinforced their genetic resistance to the malaria parasite. Yams release chemicals that inhibit the reproduction of the falciparum malaria in the blood. I didn't know that. That's something I learned reading this. During two large Bantu migrations between 5,000 and 1,000 before Christ, they drove the malaria-ridden survivors of hunter-gatherer groups with limited or no immunities, such as the Khoisan, the San, the Pygmy, and the Mande peoples, to the fringes and peripheries of the continent. This land did not suit Bantu agricultural requirements, nor was it suitable for grazing their itinerant wealth in the form of cattle. The ousted Khoisan survivors found refuge on the Cape of Good Hope at the tip of Africa. The immunological fence that Falsaparam built around Bantu repelled incursions by outsiders as effectively as a standing army, decodes malaria researcher Sonia Shah, not exactly a white lady. The Bantu villagers didn't have to be bigger or stronger to beat back the nomads. A couple bites from their mosquitoes did the trick. The mosquito and the Bantu genetic adaptations to her malarial disease carved out mighty southern African empires for the Xhosa, the Shona, and Zulu. The ecological interference by human pastoral pursuits embodied by the Bantu plotline was the key to unlocking Pandora's box, letting loose deadly plagues of gleaning and reaping mosquitoes. The derivation of our escalating war with mosquitoes was a relatively recent human shift from small hunter-gatherer clan-based cultures to larger, densely populated settled societies based on domestication of plants and animals during the agricultural revolution. There you go, folks. There you go, folks. The Bantu peoples used biological warfare against the hunter-gatherer societies of Central and Southern Africa. Well, that's not true, but I mean, if they claim that Europeans used biological warfare against the native peoples of North America, it's just as big a lie. Nobody intentionally brought pigs and released them in the Florida Everglades unintentionally to run around and infect Native Americans with influenza, just like no Native Americans stuck their thrusting rod inside of female Native Americans and intentionally gave syphilis to the European arrivals. But it happened. So, the Bantus' biological warfare, because they were adapted to malaria and other diseases that come with mosquitoes, wiped out entire populations of hunter-gatherers, including Khoisan peoples. There you go, folks. There you go. The truth, the reality. We have the evidence, archaeological, linguistic, DNA, and epidemiological. Yes, so check it out. Good book. Yeah, I've had it for some time. I've been meaning to read it for ages, The Mosquito. Timothy Weingart is the author. He's a historian, and he talks about the mosquito. And you can see I'm just a little bit further than that. That's just where that page was. I thought I'd share that with you tonight. Government took our property in August 2014, and we had to fight the high court to get it back. We won, and they were forced to return it. Will President Trump approve our asylum? He'll never approve your asylum, Matis. You're not in the United States. You can only apply for asylum in the United States. If you think you applied for asylum, then I'm sorry. You've been waiting 8 years for interviews. Are you in America now? President Trump doesn't approve your asylum. Asylum cases go to courts made up of people who are learned like myself and not judges. And you must prove your case. Are you in America now, Matis Badenhorst? If not, then you can't possibly apply for asylum. Pop made right is good, says Steampunk. Well, that's your view, not mine. And, okay, so Richard Cranium, welcome to. Well, Anna Marie never responded to me and never sent me an email that I acknowledge. Let me go look and see if I ever got any emails from her. No. Never received anything from her, so I can't help her if she doesn't tell me. This sounds scary. How is it that the refugees are getting approved ahead of us? Well, Mathis Bodnor, probably because you're conflating two different things. Refugees are not asylum seekers. Asylum seekers are legal entrants into the United States who then apply for asylum based on a fear of returning home, a legitimate fear, or having been persecuted. Refugees are very different status. Two completely different things. You're not making any sense at all, Matis. Please explain your position. David van Reenen, have you read the book Scramble for Africa? Of course. My goodness, it was written a century ago. What's this? Do you know if Elon audited U.S. gold reserves? I don't know what's going on. That was big fanfare, and they never gave any update on that. Chantel says, thank you, your star. More than just a pretty face. Well, I'm a historian, political scientist, a published author, and a university lecturer. No, she never contacted me. It is good reading. Yeah, sickle cells, interesting. I've known about sickle cell for a long time. The ridiculous thing in the Army is they make you get a sickle cell test. I had so many, they're idiots. They don't keep track of the stuff in the records. I had to get like a sickle cell anemia test like 4 times in my career. I mean, seriously. Do you see this? You see this? There's no Africa in me, not for the last 180,000 years or 60,000, whenever the hell they left, hasn't been there. So long after the genetic mutation, or long before the genetic mutation for sickle cell anemia arose in West Africa 8,000 years ago, my people had long since left Africa for greener pastures and went north and lost our pigmentation and developed our sexy, good looks with the high cheekbones and the straight aquiline nose. 10,000 years ago, the blue eyes. And the rest is history. So, but they made me get the stupid test over and over again, which is just ridiculous. Once should have been enough. Apply for asylum in 2017, being forced to flee South Africa. So I take it, Matis, you are in the United States. Yeah, you already said that the government took your property. Okay. That's not answering the question. Yet after 8 years, we're still waiting for asylum. You still haven't answered my question. You haven't answered my question. Are you in the United States? Nothing you've indicated says anything about asylum so far, other than you said you fled. You didn't tell us where you fled. You said you applied for asylum. You're just nonsense, okay? So, all right, I'll give you one more chance. Yeah, troll alert. Yep. Exactly, Anthony. Just a troll alert. Just playing games. You can't answer a simple question. I asked a simple question politely. And you're not listening. I've already answered the situation. Moving on from that. Yes, I live in the U.S. Okay. All right. This is why I tell people do not apply for asylum. It does not work because most of you are frauds. Most people apply for asylum are frauds. 97% of asylum applications are denied. They're denied because most asylum seekers are frauds. I'm not saying Matis is a fraud. I'm saying most are frauds. Yep, and that's why they're turned down. Very few people get asylum. It's an adversarial system. When you go before a judge, you have to prove your case. Refugees don't have to prove it. They just have to, if they can prove it, that's great. If they have a reasonable fear, that's great. Well, it's not great to have reasonable fear, but it's enough to get over here. So I'm not sure what you want, Matis, here. Again, why don't you put a statement of interest in for refugee status? Why don't you try that? Yeah. There was no refugee program before. Oh, Jesus. I swear it's like talking to trees, man. Wow. There was no refugee program before May 12th of 2025 in the United States. It didn't exist. If you've been here for 8 years, you didn't apply for a refugee program because there was no refugee status for any South Africans. Oh, man. Anyway. Oh, gosh. It's frustrating. Did you guys see this really cool thing I got as a gift? This was impossible to bring back. I think I showed it once before. But this thing, man, I had to carry this back, hand carry this. This was tough. This was handed to me. I think I showed it once before since I got back. I brought this back all the way from South Africa, Defense Intelligence. Wow. That was the old castle. Remember that? The symbol for the South African Defense Force. This is Defense Intelligence. Man, this was a nice gift, but I really had to carry this thing all the way back from South Africa. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah, it was a nice gift, Lindy, but what a difficult thing to get back to the States. Man, I was over on weight with one of the bags, and she looked the other way. It was just a kilo over. I had to leave the wine and the honey behind at places where I go back to, and because you can't bring those things in the country. You can bring honey or wine in, but not honey. No foodstuffs. Yeah. So then also some things I wanted to buy, I couldn't buy. Some more books I wanted to buy, I couldn't because of the gifts. And then the suitcase I bought was $137. It was on sale. I bought it at in Santon at the mall. Got a good deal, and it was 3,000 some rand. Got it for 2,100 rand, which is $137. And then I had to pay $100 for the bag, so $237 to get the gifts back here. And both were right at the max. One was slightly over. So anyway, and then I was weighed down. My carry-on was so full of crap. It was, if they weighed it, I would have been rejected. That thing weighed a ton. Thankfully, I didn't have to carry all that far. My hip was killing me too. Yep. Kanka called me twice 1 week, update their records. I am a cancer patient. I have no idea what you're talking about. They call to ask if you're race Cinderella? Is that what it is? I'm sorry to hear you're suffering from cancer. But now that there is a government should look at every asylum case. No, they shouldn't. It has nothing to do. One has nothing to do with the other, Mattis. One has nothing to do with the other. You're conflating something that has nothing to do with the other. Refugee program has nothing to do with an asylum claim. If you want refugee status, then fill out the form and see what they say. All right? It's not hard. Yeah, contact Professor G. He's an asylum guy. That's what he does. He's an asylum attorney. Tell him your story. You know, I don't deal with asylum because it's fraud. It's fraud. It's almost none of these people are legitimate asylum seekers, and I have no interest in it. Virtually nobody. Virtually nobody. So, yeah. What was Senator Kenny's bombshell about Diego Garcia? Tech IQ says people are worried about where they would go for their interviews. Some say they can't fly from Cape Town to Pretoria. It's too far. Is that a question mark? Is it a question or a statement? Tech, I'm not sure what you're asking me a question or you're making a statement. I'm not sure what you're asking. Are you making a statement or asking a question? It looks like you're making a statement, then it looks like you're asking a question. John Graves said, last Saturday I watched your YouTube show. Huh? Watched YouTube show David Nino Rodriguez. It was called Africa Rising. It's very interesting. Have you seen it? No, I've never heard of it. David Nino Rodriguez. Don't know who that is, John. Why did you find it interesting? What's taking the ISIS guy who wants to run a political party? Well, he's a known terrorist who's sanctioned by the United States, and the fact that South Africa is not extraditing to America is disturbing. Another reason why the U.S. and South Africa have thorny relations. And now he's registered a political party. You think that's going to go well for South Africa? Richard Cranium says, what's your relationship with South Africa? I have no relationship with South Africa. Oh, you're asking if there's an alternative for them. Not to our knowledge, Tech IQ. We don't know where the interviews are taking place other than Pretoria. So we don't know anything at the moment. Yeah, Pablo Charlie. Dan Corder claims he demolished Ants Roots and Piers Morgan show. Dan Corder is delusional, a typical leftist who's so full of himself that he really can't see the facts. He didn't demolish anybody. He sat there and lied. So his argument was, and he just didn't shut up. He talked over everybody. His argument, I saw that clip. I didn't see the whole show. I saw that clip. His argument is, well, they're just grifters because they're claiming these are racist laws, but they also give advantage to women and to disabled people. So are they ableist, anti-ableist laws? Are they anti-male? Well, actually they are. But the point isn't whether women get it or disabled people, because disabled people are also white. Women are also white. But historically disadvantaged people are not white. And reserving 80% of jobs or more for historically disadvantaged people, not based on merit, but based on race, is racist, Dan Corder. You didn't convince anybody. You didn't move the needle except for your little hate-wanking leftist friends. So Pablo Charlie, he can say all he wants that he moved the needle, but that's ridiculous. UK handing over the island due to UN intervention. UN intervention? What UN intervention? UN negotiating? There's no intervention. They have no military. Will this then be classified as Mauritian or Chagosian? What happens to the naval base? It's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. If someone's using all caps, you're going to get your text deleted, and you don't follow the directions. You're going to get blocked. So. Okay, first off, Anthony, there is no embassy in Cape Town. Stop with the fake news. The United States does not have an embassy in Cape Town. We do not have an embassy in Cape Town. We do not have an embassy in Cape Town. Where do you get this nonsense from? Terry Barkhausen says that twat just demonstrated he has no manners, no education, absolutely no debate skills, improve the vision of the far left that they shout loud. Exactly. Exactly right. That's exactly what he did. Any people under 35 are not historically disadvantaged. Marius. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I didn't see the news, but we are not giving up Diego Garcia. That's not happening. No, there isn't an embassy there. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, we have an embassy in Pretoria and Hatfield. We have a consulate in Cape Town. We have a consulate in Durban and a consulate in Joburg on 1 Stanton Drive. But we have no embassy in Cape Town. That's simply not true. The ambassador is resident in Hatfield, in Pretoria. Just not true. Okay, so back to the question. I wasn't trying to be flippant there to the gentleman. He asked me what my tie is to South Africa. I have no tie to South Africa. I just have an interest. And I don't know why people obsess and think everything's South Africa. I have multiple channels and I cover the world. I cover the world every day in a news program. I start with South Africa because I think it's important and no one else in the world does that. There's no other news actor in the world who focuses on Africa and covers the entire world in the way that I do it. So I start with South Africa, work around Africa. I mean, I've reported on Mauritius and the Seychelles and Madagascar, Angola, Botswana, every country in Africa virtually, repeatedly over the past 5 years, starting with South Africa where the big focus is and then moving around. Then I hit hotspots around the world that people don't know about or that are going to become hotspots and predict what's going to happen. I talked about Myanmar before the coup. I talked about Ukraine before the invasion. I told people about it months before it happened, that it was building up to it and that Biden was going to allow it to happen, and so on. And then I wrap up my news with North America, and the last thing I cover is the United States every day. So people seem to have this obsession with me in South Africa. I don't know what that is. Anyway, but back to the gentleman who asked me the question. Are you still here? Before I spend time answering this question, because it's involved and it takes time. All right, so who was the gentleman that asked me that? Richard Cranium. Richard Cranium, are you still here? Please let me know if you're still here, and then I will answer your question in full. I wasn't being flippant earlier. I was just trying to get something else taken care of. Yeah, Stella says, if you have to hike to Pretoria, do it. Make a plan. Bloodcoat wants me to explain the difference between a consulate and embassy, which I've only done 65,000 times over the course of the past 5 years, and particularly in the last 5 months. But I'll do that again, Bloodcoat. An embassy is the representation for a nation. In the Commonwealth, it's different. You have high commissions. So you have a high commissioner, not an ambassador, but he's equivalent of an ambassador. And a high commission is because you're in the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth. So when you go to New Zealand, there's not a South African embassy. There's a South African High Commission. Or Australia, High Commission. UK, High Commission, not an embassy. Canada, High Commission. You have an embassy to the United States and to Germany, but not to Commonwealth countries. So, but they're essentially the same, just different in that system. A consulate is where consular services are provided. Consular services consist of services for nationals from your country and also services to those in the host country, particularly for visas. So a consulate processes visas. A consulate gets replacement passports for those who have been robbed. A consulate also helps facilitate access to people who have been wrongfully arrested and detained, or those who have been legitimately arrested and detained. That's what a consulate does. Consulate also hosts our offices for our various attachés who have to perform business around the country. That is a consulate, not an embassy. The ambassador, you have a consul officer who's representative in each of those, but they all work for the ambassador. Does that answer the question? Okay. What's the chance of 10,000 prisoners being released in the Ukraine exchange that might not be South African soldiers? I have no idea what you're getting at, anime. Herman Peter Cook says, you are one of the reasons South Africans have will to see this situation through. Well, thank you. It's very kind of you. Janella Paul, good morning. We will need you purchase furniture later after setting up USA, or we all... all houses furnished? No, not all houses furnished. But I spent the first 15, 20 years of my life renting furnished houses. So sad to see you upset. You've dedicated so much time helping others. You're in so many prayers. Just know that. I'm not upset, generational dysfunction. I'm just frustrated by some of the questions and statements. And Anthony says, apologies, didn't know it was just consulate. It's just a consulate. No need to apologize, Anthony. But I deal in facts, and I try to prevent confusion here because people make these mistakes all the time. They're not intentional. So you don't need to apologize. You did nothing wrong. I'm just correcting the record. That's all. That's all, guys. And Bloodcup said he got it. He understands it. Cool. Are Arctic is saying initial housing is furnished. You're talking about for refugees. Yes, that will be the case for temporary housing. It will be furnished. They'll put you in a place where you're likely to be able to find a furnished apartment or house. The moral of South Africa needs to be lifted morale, and you help out a lot. Well, thank you, Herman Peter Cook. Chaos Juggler. I guess that Richard Cranium departed, so I don't know if he's really still here. He was just a troll trying to get something. But I asked him if he was still here, and I'd answer his question, but he's not chatting, so he must have disappeared. Must have disappeared. If we miss a call, do you think that we'll call back? Yes, I do think. Well, Charisse, being in New Zealand, you can't apply for the program. Although, strangely, it does say if you're in another country, but legally you can't do it. So I don't know what they're up to. I don't have an answer for this. Under the law, you can't apply from another country. You have to be in South Africa to apply. But on the statement of interest, they ask you if you're in another country. So I don't know what's going on there. So I guess they're skirting the law. I mean, the precedent has been set by the Biden regime, who broke the law every time you turn around. So I don't know what's going on there. But being in New Zealand, you're not supposed to be able to apply for this program. It's not for you. You're in New Zealand. You're not in South Africa. This is for people in South Africa. So if you've applied, or if you've put your statement of interest in, then I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you'll get into it. I don't know. But under the law, you're not allowed to do it. So I don't know what they're doing. I really don't know what they're doing. I don't have an answer on it. I'm not dissuading anybody from doing it, but if you don't get it, understand that the law says you can't do that. Was a great answer, says Conrad. Cool. We're not as fortunate as a lot of people. We're a family of four, all had no passports, no documents. We sold most of our stuff to get money, so our passports, we have a little bonus to travel. Fun here in four. Well, that's awesome. I hope that you get what you're looking for, so you're not stranded there. Janelle says, thank you. South Africa at some point sent 10,000 soldiers to Ukraine. It was a laughing stock. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. When did South Africa send 10,000? Where did you get that from? No, South Africa didn't send 10,000 troops to Ukraine. It doesn't have 10,000 troops to send. They don't have the money for that. They didn't send 10,000. That's where did you get that from? That's not true. That's fake news. That's fake news. Bring you a single malt. Yeah, Mile High says, Charisse, it sounds like you found refuge in a first world country, no? May I ask about the rate at which refugees we were settled? You can ask, Ron. I don't have any answer for that. Nobody knows. Nobody knows what the rate is. If you're asking what our capacity is, it's unlimited. We took 162,000 Afghans in 3 weeks who weren't even vetted. But the criminal rogue Biden regime was violating federal law to do that. Trump's under a microscope, so I doubt he's going to violate any laws. Although letting people apply that aren't in South Africa is a violation of law, unless they've somehow found a way around that. Hey, Fred. Flying Boar's back from Canada. What's going on, man? That white token Dan Quarter makes me sick. He's an ANC paid propagandist. Yep. Charisse says on temporary work visa. Ah, okay. All right, then Charisse, yeah, then you're okay. Because you reside in South Africa. Okay, good. I thought you were living. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, that's different. That's different. If you're on a temporary work visa, but if you have permanent residency, that's a problem. That's okay. So yeah, then yeah. Okay, gotcha, Charisse. You should be fine then. Should be fine. Steampunk says, to my knowledge as well, also say Goodwill store is a great place to get furniture. Yeah, Goodwill's pretty good. As covered before, very inexpensive furnishing housewares can be found in secondhand stores, garage sales. Americans are constantly struggling with too much stuff. Yep. And I just had yard sale in my neighborhood. All my neighbors, I don't sell anything. They all put their crap out there and sold it, and people came by and bought it. Americans love to buy junk. I understand why you get frustrated. People must just follow your channel, watch your videos. Yeah, it's not too much to ask, is it? You're very clear and give accurate information. I do. It's almost as if people are trying to trip me up, asking the same questions over and over again. I realize new people find the channel all the time, but it's no excuse not to go watch the videos. Yeah, 10,000 KFC troops. That's 10,000 troops. On what ship would they fit all those fatties? Yep. So I've been to Mozambique a few times and realized there are very few birds there. I wonder if mosquitoes could be refuge because mosquitoes do infect a lot of birds with different viruses. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just hunted them all down. I don't know. I noticed that too. I didn't see many birds when I was in Mozambique. Sedgefield's here, man. What's going on? Just got home from Nice now. 4 degrees. Whoa, that's nice. 4 degrees. That's beautiful, man. Just above freezing. I love it. Started simply posting photos of our White Cross monument on all of his threads. There you go. Good job there, Stella. Chaos Juggler. So that gentleman never did answer, so I think he was just trolling. We've been without water since Wednesday. Yeah, no, I've heard about the Chaos Juggler. Okay. If has a lot of fighters that are ready to go to Ukraine. Yeah, I'll bet. Anna Marie says, thank you for confirming. Yeah, no, look, South Africans, look, I'm not picking anybody in the chat, but y'all believe anything. I swear to gosh, you believe anything. I mean, the nonsense that people, I mean, I was people writing to me today telling me how they were defrauded by that Van der Merwe guy, the one who tried to disparage me because he got proved to be a fraud. Yeah, that guy, they defrauded somebody, and they're like, is it going to affect their refugee status? No, you didn't commit a crime. You were defrauded. I mean, if you haven't filed a case with SAPS, then but not that they're going to do anything about it. Birds only populate healthy, stable ecosystems. Correct. Flying Boar gave $5. How are Indians in South Africa? Are they yes, they are targeted, Flying Boar. They are targeted. Technically, under BE laws, coloreds and Indians are called black, but in the application of BE laws, they're constantly discriminated against. Yep. Rowan says, I don't see how 400,000 people be comfortably relocated. Where do you get that conclusion from, Rowan? How do you not see that? How do you not see that? Rowan, how many people do we naturalize in America every year as U.S. citizens? Do you have any idea? Between 750,000 and 900,000 foreign nationals become American citizens every year. Raise their right hand and swear to support and defend the Constitution. Up to 900,000 foreign nationals every year. These are people who have been living here for years, following our laws, obeying the laws, and then applying for citizenship every single year. Every single year. That is more than double the rest of the world combined. All the rest of the world only reaches half that number in a good year of what the U.S. does in a single year. But Trump is anti-immigrant. That's a lie. The U.S. can't take in 400,000 people. We can take in 4 million people. We can take in 14 million people comfortably. Not a problem. Not a problem. We take in 40 to 150,000 in a normal given year refugees from around the world from conflict zones and spend $3 billion on that. 150,000 people only spend $3 billion. So 400,000 people, relocation services, you double that, and then 50% more. So that's 5 or 6, that's 6 billion, 7 billion a week. That's a drop in the bucket. The U.S. government just spent that in the last 2 minutes. Just spent $2 billion. Just spent $2 billion. Just spent $2 billion. That's nothing. Piece of cake. And that key, Peter, see, it's nobody's business how many refugees in the last group. Nobody's business. Could the option for being in another country to apply for refugee status be that state can determine your resettlement? It's not urgent. It's in the country. No. If you're resettled in another country, normally you can't apply. It's illegal. But like I said, the form puts down other countries. But I suspect that's for cases like Sharice, who's temporarily working, or somebody temporarily in Dubai on a temporary work visa coming home. They're permanent residents in South Africa. I suspect that's why they've done it. Just my guess. I don't know. I don't have any insight on that. But no, it's nothing to do with it. If you're in Ireland, you have somebody told me they're in Ireland, they have refugee status, they want to come to America. Too bad. Too bad. You chose Ireland. That's where you went. Now you have to live there in squalor because the Irish aren't generous like Americans are. And their economy's not growing like America's economy is growing. Their unemployment is higher, and the country's full of evil immigrants who flooded in the country illegally. So I'm sorry, but that was your choice, not mine. How did this become a refugee conversation? Temporary work visa overseas. If I have to go back to South Africa at the end of June, wish I was way out. TM, I got it. I appreciate it. I understand where you're coming from. Relocate to a safer place. There are safe places in South Africa. How many South African refugees could this accept? 100,000, a million? Oh, Mile High, it's going to be a huge economic loss. We're going to drain South Africa's human capital, whether we intend to or not. It's going to bleed the country dry. Absolutely. But of course, the media and wealthy, connected white Afrikaners are lying to everybody saying, oh no, this isn't real and nobody wants to go. I got a video from somebody today who went to the government office where they issue birth certificates and passports to get a birth certificate. place was full of white people, like 80 white people there. Why are the white people there? All applying for passports. Do you think they're all suddenly going on vacation to Mauritius? No, they're not. They're trying to get out. It's not just white folks. Indian lady who came to my meet and greet sent me a message. Hey, did I fill the form out right? I said, well, yeah, if you did what you said. So, yeah. For leave, clarifying is I get some claims of ammunition. Well, ammunition is not, okay. See, you're conflating things. You told me 10,000 soldiers went there. Now you're talking about ammunition. That's two separate stories. Two separate stories. I didn't answer any question about ammunition. I answered a question about 10,000 South African soldiers. Lots of yard sales. Yeah, here in Missouri. Yep, junk, as Chris said. Yep. BS says, I've actually had a company say to my face, maybe if you paint your skin. Wow. It's a shame you didn't catch that on audio and record them. Would it be possible for a follow-up interview with the newly arrived refugees? No. Jan and Mariki don't want to talk anymore. Thea doesn't want to talk anymore. Although I'm in touch with all of them, and I'm in certainly a couple times a week touch with Thea. She updates me what's going on. She's moved into her permanent residence, and she plans on being there at least a year. That's her plan. And it's furnished. And by the way, I've seen where she lives. I know the address, and it's a lovely area. It's a lovely area. She's in a good spot, in a very good spot, in a very economically active part of the country. She should be able to find a job once she's got her Social Security number pretty easily. So, yeah. The second group that's come in, I've got someone who is talking to them. It turns out that the people who came into this other location, all of them are part of the Wyatt Army. They all listened to me, and they all put their statement of interest in and sent their email in, and that's how they got interviewed, and that's how they got sent, and they've stayed calm, and they followed my advice, and they're in America. So good on them. Yeah, Light Rain, people don't want attention. Leave them alone. So, but if Thea wants to come back on, she can come back on. So, California's a great state. No, it's not. It's a horrible place, Pablo Charlie. I've lived in California several times in my lifetime. It's gone downhill since the 1960s. Downhill since the 60s. Antti Botsov says, no country in the world has opportunities to say. You're correct. There's no country like America. Here, don't worry about your typos, Light Rain. I haven't heard the latest on Gaza about a ceasefire being refused. I didn't see that. Social shouldn't take long. No, it should take less than 2 weeks. The Russian ammo shipments. I don't have any proof of that, but Ambassador Ruben Brigidi exposed South Africa for the Lady R docking in Simonstown and lifting containers off the ship in the dead of night with Special Forces plated vehicles from Bloemfontein sitting down there, photographed by private citizens and shared on social media. The government ignored it. U.S. for 5 months politely, diplomatically asked quiet back channel, what the heck's going on here? That ship is sanctioned. Why are you letting it dock in Simonstown? And the ANC blew us off. And then the U.S. government told Brigidi to blow the whistle and tell the press what happened. So Brigidi blew the whistle. The South African government did a bogus investigation in which they covered up whatever did happen there instead of telling the truth. And so I don't know what happened with the Lady R, but I suspect that, South Africa may very well have sold something to Russia, and I think it was UAVs most likely. That's my expectation, but I don't have any proof whatsoever. It's just speculation. Perfect time for everyone thinking of leaving to declutter and start cleaning, selling. Yep. Northern California make a nice addition to Greater Idaho. Yeah. Eastern Washington would make a nice addition to Idaho. Tax numbers in 10 weeks. What's that? You can confirm containers leaving premises. Thank you. Wyatt Army recruit. Well, it's funny. A lot of the people, apparently, I'm hearing this from many sources, including someone in the U.S. government, a lot of people, when they did their initial interviews, including ones going in now, and they asked, anybody in America? And they're like, well, I know Colonel Chris Wyatt. Good gosh. That's entertaining. Wow. Is Beth Frazier here? Where's Beth at? Hey, Arctic, what's going on, man? I don't see Beth. There's Beth. Hey, Beth. How you doing, man? Good Lord, Beth. How's it going, man? Pete Buttigieg is not going to win the presidency. Not going to happen. Why is there a number? Chantel, because you're the number 2 contributor in the community. That's a new thing that they did. Yeah, you're listed number 2. You have 150 points. I don't know what you get points for. Maybe it's for doing super chats or something. I don't know. But yeah, Arctic is number 9, which is odd because he's a moderator. Marius Fenter is number 5. Henty Bosov is number 4. Dylan is number 3. And Anthony is number 1. So there you go. So that's just a new thing that they started doing. They didn't even tell us as content creators. They always do that. YouTube's always changed things. You never tell content creators. They make one video that no one knows about and insight into what documents, part and births. We've covered that, Charisse. That's in the videos. Steampunk, I have no idea why you're getting points either. The video on Jackie. Completely understand why we need to protect all refugee identities. Who is Jackie? Who is Jackie? Santa Barbara is stunning. Yeah, it's all right. $5 from Flying Board. Now South Africans come to U.S. American and have a rugby and cricket team. We have a rugby team and we have a cricket team. Thank you for the $5 super chat. There's a color guy that posted on a legal group looking for assistance. The comments this poor guy got. Told him to remove it, only followed Chris. I felt so bad for him. Yep. You only get points if you agree with a woman. I don't think so. People can see, but for some, it's not possible to leave due to their circumstances. For some reason, you cannot see your email address. Well, it's probably because you're on a mobile phone, and some people can't see it on a mobile phone. One of the mods post my email address, please. We farm in South Africa and are planning on coming as refugee and hopefully one day farm the U.S. Okay, cross-border farms. Thanks for sharing that. I'm going to start a Feldskone and Biltong shop in Montana. Well, that's a good idea. Feldskone can be purchased here. I'm trying to help Freedom of Movement and Jim Green boots. Henty and McCarthy. I'm sure this has been asked for. Can someone be rejected because of persecution bar? What is a persecution bar? What are you talking about? I don't know what a persecution bar is. I don't know what that is. What do you mean by that? Please explain that, Mr. McCarthy. Colonel, does our statement of interest need to be accompanied with an email? No, you don't send an email. So who are you going to send an email to? There is no email to send an email to. If you can't get the statement of interest page, then you're not going to be able to get one in. That's the only way they're doing it. Try using a proxy server. Just pick another location in South Africa. CB put in the email, thank you. Apparently a Jackie Bota, that newsroom reported, was a refugee that harassed her previous neighbor to get info. Okay, I don't know who that is. I know that the Herald and Newsroom Africa outed Santana Hurley. That's why she came on my program to do the interview. Keegan Fundamentalist, I really appreciate you doing Expose Evil Going On. Well, I've been doing it for a long time in the intelligence community, and then I've been doing it for 5 years as a private citizen. Only now are people catching on to what I'm doing, so thank you. You're very welcome. Yeah, try a different browser. Good advice, Anthony. I read an article yesterday that the ANC wants to put their filthy hands in pension funds. Henty, I've been telling you that. I've been telling you that for years. Expropriation without compensation is not about land. Expropriation without compensation is about property. Property includes pension funds, medical aid, your buckies, your jewelry, your bank accounts, your retirement funds. All of that is on the table. This is just the first effort. Now they've got it through. Next, they're going to push to take your assets. See, the problem with expropriation with compensation is they can't take your funds because they have to give you equitable compensation. The only equitable compensation for taking R1,000,000 from you is R1,000,000. But if there's no compensation, they can take R1,000,000 and just take it. That's coming. That article is way behind. I've been telling people that. Ask the OGs here. I've been talking about that for ages. Hey, Beth. Smoky Mountain Scotsfest. Checked what ID? How is cricket in the USA? Not very big. Not very big at all. No, Sarl Skuman, the second batch of people leaving has not been kept quiet by the media in South Africa. They just don't know. They don't know. Because I'm trusted by people. I had the insight and I reported people already arrived on Friday. People already arrived on Friday and more are coming. And South African media doesn't know what to say and do because they're scurrilous rogues and reprobates who are not interested in the news. They're interested in harming people because they're racist. So that's why they're not reporting on it. They're not protecting anybody. They're just not reporting on it because they have no information. They're busy making stories up every day and lying about genocide, saying Trump said it. Trump never said it. Trump said he wasn't convinced. And then they lied. Peter Dutoit, Adrien Basson, all those people at Cockprot 24 lied about what Trump said. And the U.S. media, same thing. Trump insists he rails against Ramaphosa about his fake, disproven theory of white jet. No, he never said that. When asked a question directly in the Oval Office, Trump said, I'm not convinced. But they lie about him. Sent your video to President Trump on True Search. Well, thank you. Well, thank you, Flying Boar. $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Rebecca, how's it going? Annalie Erasmus, this is something scary. I think the U.S. did not make big fan for our rivals riding the rivals. Pete Buttigieg supports the abolition of the Electoral College because he's a moron. Statehood for District of Columbia because he's an idiot. And Puerto Rico because he's a moron. Jacques B. Okay, welcome to you. ANC is always has an angle to it. Yep. Fred says, remember Colonel Chris reporting on this has also been saying this from the start. After the money and pension fund has been mentioned so many times. Yep. Gerard Fourie, 14 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Copying much of what China's been doing. Yep. The EWC stands for equity without consent. Yeah, I like that. Fine, I sent your video. I already got that. Okay. Thank you. Is that another $5? Thank you for the second $5, Flying Boar. I'm very happy mainstream doesn't know where refugees are leaving anymore. Yep. It's better they don't know. Exactly. The whole Pan-African scam seems like a prosperity preacher scam. Yep. They're busy trying to cover CR's butt, and having more than 49 people leave makes CR look bad. Exactly. So they're not going to report on it. It was actually 59, not 49. Do we know if Burns has arrived back in States? Oh, that pastor? No idea. Oh, Peter Edward Schultz, that's the first time you heard me call it. I've named them Cockprot 24 for some time, yeah. Joined the police armed service 494 and was seen as a persecutor. Now that they feel persecuted because of race, but are barred from being refugees. Who's barred from being a refugee? What are you talking about? Who's barred from being a refugee? What are you talking about, Etienne? Who is barred from being a refugee? Nobody's been barred from being a refugee. What are you talking about? Where are you getting this nonsense from? See, this is what we have to do. We have to rubbish all this nonsense. Etienne McCarthy, who is banned from being a refugee? Who? Can you confirm that we have to keep a bank account open? Anthony, I'm not an expert on South African finances. I can't even open a bank account up there. It's illegal to open a bank account unless you have a work visa in South Africa, which is asinine. It's asinine. I can open a bank account up almost anywhere in the world without being a legal resident of the place, but not in South Africa. I tried to open one. It's ridiculous. My resignation is in for the end of June so I can get my pension paid out and hide it before they take everything. A lot of government employees are resigning. You're right. Tesla stock is up since Tim Waltz said he likes seeing Tesla price drop. Really? I didn't know that. Hey, George, leaving from... All right, well, okay. Leaving for home. Did you work overnight? What's going on there? Client to call briefly. Publications, also Cockprot articles. It's not state-owned. No, Henty, it's not state-owned. Cockprot 24 is owned by Naspers, which is owned by Koos Becker. Thank you so much. Is all I need to hear. If you don't know about it, it's... No, nobody. Okay, so I don't know where you're going with this, Henty. At the end, are you? Is the point you're saying that if someone served in the security forces before '94, they're barred from being a refugee? That's horse manure. That's absolute horse manure. The only people that aren't going to be able to come as refugees are people that are known war criminals and convicted felons. I mean, they're not going to take them. Yeah, PayPal is one way to do it. Yeah, there's a woodworking community here. The Amish are here. They're huge into woodworking. Yep. NVIDIA's president has a plan. He's a vision. Okay. There are better apps available. There are lots of things, Rudy. PayPal is fine. It's just they charge a fee, but most of them do these days. Yeah, most of our players have Afrikaans surnames that play for our cricket team in the U.S. Cricket World Cup in New York when Team USA beat Pakistan. That's true. I just said that, Face, as you were typing that. I think Hetian was saying she heard that, but if you hadn't, that no, it is utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. See, this is the cockprot that's spread by evil Afrikaners who are envious because they're afraid that if everyone leaves, their businesses will collapse. Because guess what? They will collapse. So they, just like a certain YouTuber who went to the embassy at the protest and then said that basically only toothless, uneducated, illiterate, lazy Afrikaners will go to America. Real Afrikaners will stay here. What a crock that is. What a crock that is. Anyway. All right. Well, Hetian, you didn't say it very accurately or clearly, so I had to divine what you're getting at. It's utter nonsense. That's not true. Yeah, the Amish make great furniture. Yep. Getting money out of South Africa should be easy. Many ways are available to do so. It just takes a little searching. It does. And unfortunately, we had a person who was going to tell you how to get your money out of South Africa legally. And then that hate wanker threatened their business. They didn't know any better. That guy has no power. Nobody listens to that loser. So I had to reassure them. They were terrified that this guy actually had some pull. Who's going to employ our employees when we close a business and leave? Nobody, Anthony. And if you stay, your business is going to get out of business anyway because you're going to have to hand it over to someone whose skin pigmentation is black. Not because they're qualified. You have to give away your equity because the laws are changing and your business will go under anyway. So that's not to say there aren't black people who are qualified to run businesses, but people get things handed to them aren't. Flying Boar says, $5 super chat says, what's sad is that South Africans have learned nothing from Zimbabwe. Oh, no, they've learned. They've learned. The ANC's perfecting what the process that went on in Zimbabwe. They learned very well. Paris Saint-Germain has won UEFA. I don't really care, Pablo Charlie. That's soccer. That's a boring game. No, Etienne, your question wasn't stupid. It wasn't clear. It wasn't clear. I didn't know what you're asking, but I had to divine it. I have to deal with a lot of stuff here. Of course, I appreciate that English is not the first language of some people, so I understand that. But people say things and it's unclear what they're saying because it's in your head, but it doesn't make it to the keyboard. Yeah, Fabian, you're correct. Once towns start emptying out, then people are going to leave too. I heard people building a sailboat in Cape Town and built all their wealth in the boat's hull and sailed to the U.S. Okay. They can't stay here. They can't stay in America. They have no status. They have to leave. So that's a pretty stupid idea. The Durban meet greet was mentioned. One should get an international bank account. A bank name was mentioned, but I didn't catch. Any money will go to flying my cats U.S. I don't remember, Karen, what the bank was. Someone else said that. Someone said Wise, but then someone said Wise isn't the best. I don't have the answers for you on that. I think that's the plan from day one, that there's a letter from the 90s showing the steps they want to take and all the steps so far. Wow, this was really not supposed to be a refugee story. We're talking about the Bantu settlement of Africa here. That's why I started, but you guys just dead set on refugee questions. Yes, thank you, Jean. That's what I want to talk about, rugby. That's what I want to talk about, rugby. So let's get to some of the news here, even though it's not a news broadcast. A couple things to talk about here. So, Inkatha Freedom Party member of parliament is assassinated in a Gauteng attack. IFP MP Kethambambula Petros Sitole died after he was attacked in Katalong Saturday. The IFP said the 68-year-old party's deputy chief whip and member of their national council was assassinated by unknown assailants. Details are still sketchy, and the IFP's expectation law enforcement agencies will spare no effort to bring the perpetrators of this heinous crime to justice. I don't think that the authorities will spend much time trying to find the perpetrator. I think this is yet another move, assassinating IFP once again. Here we go again, just like the 1990s. $1 trillion is moved between 100 politically connected individuals through BEE. This according to Professor Willem Gumeda of WITS. He said black economic empowerment has led to increased poverty, unemployment, and inequality in South Africa. Well, Professor Gumeda, I agree with you. That's 100% what I said. There he is last year, or in 2023, at the conference I was at. That's Professor Gumeda. Yep. I wish I had a contact for him. I'd love to interview him. Yep. The Hawks say they need more money. Outgoing head Godfrey Labea says they need more resources. He said more than 19,000 people arrested by the Hawks during his tenure. Called for them to be further capacitated. They need more resources. Lieutenant General Godfrey Labea said his tenure has been marked by thousands of arrests along with multiple high-level investigations. Unfortunately, they're not as good as the Scorpions were. Well, the Sharks, ladies and gentlemen, what an epic game. Unbelievable. For those who didn't watch it, you missed something, you can go listen to the replay if you want of my color commentary and play-by-play over on Rugby Ascendant. The first half was atrocious, a dozen plus unforced errors, handling errors by the Sharks. They were atrocious. They were lucky to be trailing only 7-0 at halftime. They came back after trailing 21-13, I think it was. Or no. Yeah, something like that. To take the lead and lead 24-21. Only give up a penalty to Connor Murray right there at the end of regulation, taking in extra time. No points were scored in the first 10 minutes of extra time. No points were scored in the second period of extra time. And for the first time ever, it went to a kickoff. They went to a kickoff in which they start at the 22. They have the center. Then they kick from the left and they kick from the right. There are 3 kickers for each side. The Sharks went first, followed by Munster. Then they moved back to midfield, well, to the 10-meter line. They kick from the center, the left and right. The Sharks hit all 6 of their kicks from Jaden Hendrickse down the middle, Bradley Davids on the left side, and then Jordan Hendricks on that side. They hit all 6, and Rory Scannell missed 1 kick, and so they never got to the 6th kick because it wasn't necessary, and the Sharks win in double overtime, bonus kickoff. And so they now go to Loftus to play the Bulls next week, and I'll be covering that game. 2 South African sides play each other in a semifinal. That means at least 1 South African side will go through to the final in the URC Championship for the 4th consecutive year. Will it be the Sharks for the first time, or will it be the Bulls for the 3rd time? I think it'll be the Bulls. Absolute humdinger, a roller coaster of emotions that saw the Sharks first infuriate and then dazzle their fans and ultimately leave them in dreamland. It was a match that nobody saw coming, decided by a kickoff, and those who were there will never forget it. Who could have thought that the man of the moment would be a 22-year-old replacement scrum half Bradley Davids? It was impossible to script. With time on the clock, Davids replaced Makazole Mapimpi off the bench and never got a touch. His one job of the night was to be one of the 3 kickers in the shootout alongside Hendricks brothers. The end result was that all 3 knocked over their 2 kicks each, but the final kick from 40 meters out to the left of the uprights fell to Davids. He slotted it with the calmness of a seasoned veteran. Just like that, the Sharks were through to the URC semifinals after Munster missed just 1 of their 6 kicks through Rory Scannell. After 80 minutes of the slippery Durban evening, the sides were squared at 24-24, an incredible quarterfinal. A further 20 minutes of extra time produced no points at all, so we had the historic first ever kickoff to decide the game. What a contest. What a contest. What a contest. Unbelievable. You can have international bank accounts, Arctic. You're mistaken. You can have overseas bank accounts. You just have to report them to the IRS. Yeah, I used to have German bank accounts. You just had to report them to the IRS. You have a legal obligation to report them to the IRS, and if you have income from them, you have to pay taxes. You usually pay it in the host country. Yeah, no, you can have an international bank account. You absolutely can. You're mistaken, Hardik. Yeah, Jean, that was a brilliant last-minute replacement. They brought him with 2 minutes to go in that last extra time. Got him in just in time. Because you can't bring a kicker in. It's got to be somebody on the pitch. Chantel, we'll catch you later. That was incredible. And the Bulls, oof, they didn't look very good. And then they got it together. They scored 5 straight tries, scintillating tries. And then they gave up a couple tries and made it close. Bulls recovered from slow start to roar back into the third URC semifinal in 4 years. Having won 42-33, one suspects Jake White will be happy to claim the lion's share of whatever victory is going around. But the mighty first half by Everett's visitors would have given them immense satisfaction, albeit hollow after having stuck to their task of preventing the hosts from flying out of the blocks as they have this year. The Bulls eventually won this game, but man, it was tough. It was tough, and really got nervous here. But in the end, they won the thing. Yeah, I'm going to miss Stephen Kitsoff. Yep. First South African. You're right, Herman Peter Cook. It was fantastic. And then we lost the second year to Munster. Stormers, Munster, Glasgow, and who wins it the year, so we'll see. Leinster is always the bridesmaid. They've never won since it's been URC. Last time they won was in 2020, I think. Yep. I'm going to miss Stephen Kitsoff a lot. I'm also missing Dwayne Vermeulen, but time comes for guys to go. But it was too early for Kitsoff. It was too soon for him with that injury. But he's lucky to be walking. Yep. And I don't know the status of Brock Harris, but I think his career might be over as well. Someone promised to put me in touch with him, but I haven't heard from him. Henneke Meyer would be a great choice to turn the Lions around. I agree. Henneke's a great coach. I've interviewed him when he was with Houston. Yeah, with the Houston Sabercats for the Major League Rugby. I interviewed him. Lindy says she's a Shark supporter. Her husband is a Bull supporter. Well, that's going to be a tough weekend next weekend. Anna Marie Forey says, I can reach out to Kissoff's dad. Well, that'd be great. That'd be great. Love to interview him. Colonel Stan Bazidnaut here. Please help me contact you urgently. I've been trying for weeks. We need to talk. You need to send me an email. I don't know that Brock announced his retirement. Brock, yeah, I think you're right. The plan was over, but he was injured. So what a way to go out. They brought the card. I was at the game. They brought the card out for Brock Harris, and he wasn't going to go out on a cart. He hobbled off the pitch, and you could see the tears coming from his teammates on the sideline. Yeah, no, he's done. But Brock Harris, what a warrior. Over 400 matches for the Stormers. Incredible. Toodlescape said it was a rough day here in Texas. We had a celebration of my life for my 33-year-old nephew passed away. I'm so sorry to hear that. Thank you for joining us tonight. That's tough. 33, that's far too soon. The gentleman's trying to reach me from IBF Investigations. There's the email address. Jeremy, what's going on? Karen says Standard Bank froze her account. Well, those guys are criminals. What basis do they have for freezing your account? Gabon's president says he stands for private ownership and populism. Pfft, we'll see, Pablo Charlie. All phones are not open in other countries. I have no idea what you're talking about there, Annalise Erasmus. What do you mean all phones are not open in other countries? Are you trying to tell, you saying some phones are locked? That's a true statement, but that's easily overcome by an Indian in a phone shop. Easily overcome. Yeah, phones are locked. You just need the code or you know how to jailbreak it. That's all it takes, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah. So after the Stormers game in which Brock Harris was injured, I went to Bootlegger Coffee Shop to get something to eat on the way back to my hotel downtown in Cape Town. And I walked 4 kilometers on this hip. It was agonizing walking back. I was hobbling. Anyway, I stopped there to get something to eat. And I was sitting at a table by myself, and there's a big table out in front of me, a big family. A couple families came with their kids. And the guy was looking at me, pointing to me like hey, waving to me. And so I walked over and said, I'm sorry, do you recognize me? He goes, oh, no, I'm sorry. You look like one of my clients. I said, oh. And then his son was sitting there. He goes, no, Dad, that's the Colonel. And he's like, what? Who's the Colonel? He's like a 10-year-old kid. That's the Colonel. You don't know him? He's on TikTok. And so he pulled up TikTok and he's showing me a look. And then there's me. And they're like, oh, are you on TikTok? I said, well, I have TikTok, but people are copying my content. I haven't done TikTok in months. I'm on YouTube. And the kid's like, where on YouTube? And so I looked up. He goes, oh, look, here it is. It's the Colonel. And so they all subscribed to me right there. They were a nice family. I talked to a couple families there. Anyway, yeah, the one guy said he knew Brock Harris and he would put me in touch with him, but I haven't heard back. So you're welcome, Aunt Anthony. That was really cool, Mars. But I mean, that's kind of how my trip goes in South Africa. It's just like that. It's astounding. It's really super cool. Really cool. So when I did the meet and greet at Blouberg, whatever you guys call it, Blouberg Strand, we had the meet and greet. And while I'm standing there taking selfies with Zion Simon and with the people, they all want to take selfies. People are walking by that know my channel, like, hey, it's a Colonel. And I'm like, oh, were you at the meet and greet? No, I just walked by. I recognize you. So then I'm leaving and somebody wanted to talk to me, wanted to give me something. And we want to do it in private, so I'm walking away. He's talking in my ear, and this guy comes up from behind me and taps me on the shoulder and goes, "Hey, Colonel Wyatt, I was sitting in that other restaurant, and I just saw you walk by." It's so cool. It's really awesome. And when I was at the airport leaving South Africa, I was sitting at Mug and Bean upstairs, and this guy came by and, "Hey, you're the Colonel. Thanks for all you do for South Africa." And then another one, I'm standing downstairs, and I'm going over to the security. There was no queue. It was nice. It was a good time to get through. And this guy was on the phone. He goes, "Hey, it's Chris Wyatt." I'm like, "Yeah, how you doing?" Hey, hang on a second. So he hung up a phone call. He said, "Hang on, I gotta call." And or was he on the phone with her? I don't remember. Anyway, he's talking to his partner. He goes, "You're never gonna believe who I'm talking to. You're never gonna put it on video. Look at this." She goes, "No way!" It's so funny. That was really cool. Thank you for the time you take. Okay. Hey, Kitty, what's going on? Jeremy says, all good here in Indonesia, man. Are you in Jakarta? I've never asked that question. You got me interested in what the gray listed countries are and banks are. Apparently 23, almost all in Africa. Nepal being an outlier. Nepal is corrupt, yep. Hey, Estelle. I owed money to Standard Bank instead of allowing me to borrow money to pay. Oh my goodness. They froze your accounts. That's correct. Oh, okay. I see. Oh, well, I guess they thought we were going to commit fraud, but still that doesn't sound right. So did you ever get your money? Hey, Kitty, thank you for becoming a member. What was hang on, this chat. Alert box is off. Okay. Oof, boy, it's warm here. Oh, Sentinel City. Okay. I got to take this hoodie off. I'm cooking. Oof. Which is odd. It's 21 degrees. It should be 20 in here, so it's a little bit warmer than it should be. You see behind me on the clock, it says 21 degrees. Whew, too warm. Cooking there, man. Whew. 1 hour drive. Okay, that's relatively close. Stripper chat. No, I don't do stripper chats. That's something for Ronaldo. Anyway. By the way, folks, if you haven't seen it, I have a video on the Truth Report YouTube channel. It was supposed to go live for the platform. It isn't ready yet. I've given them 3 videos, and they've published 1, and they made 1 short out of it, which is pretty good. Don't tease the ladies. 12 degrees this morning, says Cordell Hull. It's the name of a famous naval expert. Yep. Anyway, so man, so 2 South African sides make it to a semifinal. We're gonna have a South African side in the final. It'll either be in Leinster, or it's going to be in Leinster, Durban, or, well, no. Leinster, Durban, or Loftus. Yeah, so if the Sharks and Glasgow win, it'll be in Durban, the final. If the Bulls and Glasgow win, it'll be at Loftus. If Leinster wins, it'll be in Leinster. There you go. Cape Tony murdered in the U.S. by a South African. Yeah, I know that story, Pablo Charlie. But was murdered by a South African. South African murdered a South African. And they were arrested and are in jail, unlike South Africa. Green Leaves, I'm not telling you how many people land in the second group. That's nobody's business. Well, the Truth Report is a social media company, which I'm involved in. And that's why I asked that guy. He was obviously just trolling. He just disappeared. Anyway, so. Well, He missed out. He could have learned some really cool stuff. Felina Alcontin just subscribed. Thank you for that. Matthew joined the Truth Report. Yeah, but it's got fewer subscribers than I do right now, so it needs to grow. It's going to be a separate domain, Truth Report, whatever the domain is going to be, and it will have a core group of content creators, and then I'll have contributors. And then it's going to have a sports section, a newswire section, and commentary. And there'll be a lot of stuff. You can evaluate the reports. A lot, just waiting for it to come up. It's supposed to come up next week, but I'm growing a little bit concerned about what's going on with it. So anyway, Boardstormer don't like all the rule changes all the time. Yeah, the laws are always changing. It's frustrating. Yeah. I did. They wanted to sell for less than I owed. I managed to get more. Lived under 7 years till I got my Sasa. Okay. Okay, Karen. It sounds very complicated. Heinrich Fissa, welcome to you. Rosalind or Russell, almost 6 degrees in Pumalanga. Well, that's chilly, but my kind of weather. Future for you to report inside White House. You're not really. Anna Marie, I applied. It's all scam. It's a scam. Carolyn Levitt, it's a scam. She hadn't even finished mentioning to apply. I applied, and they've never had the courtesy to contact me. Never had the courtesy to contact me. I got a confirmation email, and I haven't heard from them since. I filled it out. It's all a scam. The whole purpose of that was so they could get their friends in, like Breitbart, One American News, and Newsmax. They let them have front row seats, and then they bring in, C cup, bleach blonde, 22-inch waist, long sexy legs, bimbos to stand in the back. That's it. It's not for people like me. No. So I don't have a C cup, and I don't have a 22-inch waist. Hollywood Boulevard. I don't know about that, Peter Edward Schultz. I am an actor. I actually am in films in Hollywood. Did you know that? The most recent one was a documentary that included what's his name there? Gosh, I can never remember his name. The guy played Hank Landry on Stargate. Played General Hank Landry. Beau Bridges. I'm in a documentary with Beau Bridges. Good luck with the Truth Report. I watch your videos on there. Not really interested in the others. Well, thank you for that, Arctic. I appreciate that. We're on stream when the Colonel applied. Yeah, exactly, Light Rain. We were on. Yeah, I did it, and I've never heard from him. Never heard once. Not a phone call, not an email. In fact, let me check my email again. Just I'll do a search. It'd be really wild if I got proven wrong. Where the heck is my email? God bless it. Come on. I'll try this one here. Okay, I must. Come on. Okay, email. So. Okay. White House. Nope. 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 Nothing. Not surprised. 4 degrees in Durban. You can take the NBC spot. That's true. Premeditated history. I like that username. Who's using caps? Stop using caps. Only watch your videos. They're not like BS like some of the other people. Well, thank you, Golda Krug. I appreciate that. Yeah. Hey, Beth. Yeah, they're on a roll, and the next group is also so. Fit in your suitcase. 12 degrees in Richards Bay. Wow, Estelle, it's nice there in Richards Bay, but that's down on the East Coast. So let me just take a look real quick here. So we are at 98,509. It's after midnight, but those numbers continue till 3 a.m. because even though I'm in the U.S., all my data changes in Pacific time because that's where YouTube is headquartered. So another 2 hours and 36 minutes, and then that clock will tick for May. And as I predicted, we're not going to get to 100,000 in May. We're 1,491 short. So didn't quite make it. Maybe 3 or 4 more days we might make it. Dude, you were just told to stop using all caps, weren't you? Okay, all right. Well, the guy says he's partially blind. All right. All right, we'll accept that. And so let the guy's stuff be shown, okay? I can't restore it, so, yeah. Just because you don't hear from President Trump doesn't mean he doesn't doing anything. Partially blind. That's why I use caps. All right, well, all right. Don't, guys, let him put his caps in there, okay? Let him put his caps in there. Okay? Yeah, Arctic says noted. All right, so I don't know what Heigel, I don't know what that Heigelite or whatever it is. All right, sorry, but we deleted that, but it's a rule. So thank you for explaining it on the second one. All right, we'll allow you to do that. Roxy Cinema, Cape Town in the 80s. Did they have cafe bios? Cafe bios? What do you mean cafe bios? Bios. I don't know what that means. Goof morning. I think you mean good morning. Hans Bai. Okay, how's it going there? No, guys, the deal was 100,000 in South Africa. When I left South Africa, we were only at 80,000. Barely. Songwriter, where do I send it? Premeditated history. You can send it to the email address or in a WhatsApp group or to me through WhatsApp. Yep. Long live the beard, says Light Rain. Exactly. I love how people try to rewrite history. I said 100,000 in South Africa, and I said the beard wasn't coming off. I said it was going to be trim. I'm still willing to trim it close when I get to 100,000. What's this Texas? This interview connects it. What? I have no idea what you're saying. All right, the gentleman who was typing in caps, I said you can type, buddy, if you want to type. Sorry to hear about your vision thing. I wear reading glasses now, which is I find very irritating. I've had brilliant eyesight my entire life, but my retina tore twice in this eye, and the floater's still there after 6 years or something like that. So it's damaged my my up close. But then, you know, anyone over the age of 50, 95% of adults over age 50 develop presbyopia because your lenses harden. They're not flexible like they were for the first 50 years of your life. And so you have a hard time focusing up close. So I saw the Blue Angels when I was a kid, Terry. I saw the Blue Angels because I'm from Maryland. They used to fly there all the time. Rian Haydenreich says, leave the beard. Looks great. Quid says, I look better. Age is a beautiful thing. I don't think age is a beautiful thing, Fred. I don't think age is a beautiful thing. Tertius Funding bag. Welcome for your membership. You've already been a member for a while. Thank you. My eyes too. Make your front big under settings your device. Well, it can't make the text in this book larger. It doesn't get larger. Anyway, yeah, sometimes, so I'm fine right now with the screens. But for the past couple weeks, I wasn't getting much sleep, and I had to use the reading glasses. The gentleman who was doing it all caps, I hope you didn't run off. Hope you didn't run off. Let us know you're still here. You explain the situation. It's the only rule that we really have here, other than we ask people to be civil. It's people don't use caps. The exception is Hendo. There's a saying I have, of all the things I miss most when I was young, it's my eyesight, says Lisan Bunzar. Hendo can see just fine. Can he see just fine? Arctic has moved up to number 2 on the community. Look at that, because he's doing something there to make it happen. Doing something to make it happen. I hope you can speak more on Canadian migration. You mentioned it briefly the other day. What do you want me to say about Canadian migration, Terry? I talked about it when I was talking to Rob Hersoff. What do you mean? Canadian immigration? Canadian migration to me are those damn Canadian geese that crap all over the place out here. That's Canadian migration to me. And if they weren't protected, I'd be outside shooting them out of the air. Damn annoying freaking feces machines. Yeah, he has immunity on the WhatsApp group. Okay, I think we frightened off the gentleman with the caps. I'm sorry to see that. Wow, people leave very quickly. That's the other guy who asked me a question that just disappeared. Oh, excuse me. Media blabbed another bull interview with a company that apparently does Canadian cases migration. Oh, is that what it is? Yeah. Well, they had that Canadian immigration expert on lying about the situation, talking about asylum. This isn't asylum. It never has been asylum. Yep. So I answered a lot of questions earlier. Why about 300 people here now? Wow, the intimacy has faded a little bit, but I'm glad to see you're all here. I talked about that. I responded to a bunch of comments earlier. Which one was that on? Somebody was saying some stupid stuff. All right, somebody watched my summit interview. By the way, I'm actually kind of excited about something here. Usually they die off, but it's picking up again the next morning. Let me see. Yeah, no, I haven't had a video do this for a few days. The warning for South African refugees video is still going. It never really slowed down, even overnight. Now it's picking up almost 4,000 per hour as morning comes in South Africa. That's good. I started seeing properly at the age of 48 after LASIK. It was the best thing I've ever done. Wow, I'm sorry you used to wear thick glasses. Yawn and Zion knackered. I've planted tiger. Okay, Beth. Sorry about that. Oilers or Panthers? Oilers. Panthers already won it. I'd like to see the Oilers win it. They've got one of the best hockey players in the world, so I'd love to see them win it. Right, Raz Khan. Talk about genetic issues like you already know the info, but he'd be fun to talk to. I don't know who that Razib Khan is. Let me see who that is. Bangladeshi American writer. Population genetics. Okay. Oh, okay. I'll have to check him out. Mad Max, there you are. I was wondering if you're on patrol. You've been missing. Well, the gentleman hasn't jumped back in with the caps. That's a shame. Let me see if he's still here. Let's see if he's still here. Come on, where's that? HG. At HG. Oh, it's still there. Okay. I said he's welcome to chat. Virtually blind at the same time I lost my flat. I was diagnosed with cataracts. First op 25, it took 7 years to get second operation free at government hospital. Wow, that's awesome, Karen. Manatech helps for eyesight. I have no idea what that is. Golda says, do I know if it's true that there are U.S. military ships in South African waters? No, I'm not aware of that, but we could look and see. Let me see. What's the... okay, marine traffic. Let's take a look and see. Okay. All right. There's a lot of ships. Okay. There's a lot of ships out there. I don't see any U.S. Navy ships. Wow, man. So let me show you what currently ships are at sea. You want to see this? See how many people are at sea? Look at that. All of those are ships at sea at the moment. With locators. Look at that. Look at all the ships going around the Cape of Good Hope. Look at that. Wow. Look at that straight line up here. Right around Africa. Coming right from China right around the Cape of Good Hope. Look at the Med. The Med is full of ships. Look at that. Even the Baltic. Look at this. Even the Baltic. Look at all those ships up there. Look at Iceland. Even a bunch around Iceland. Some around Greenland. That's a naval ship from Denmark. It's moving at 12.5 kilometers. Its draft is 5.5 meters. Look at that. Maritime patrol ship. The Atlantic Griffin, offshore supply ship, Canada, government ship. Pacific Express, an ore carrier outside East London. Yeah, well, there's several sites. That's marine traffic, global ship trafficking. Another is ship vessel finders. Another, you can find all these things. Jaden Hendricks is pulling an Oval Office around posing last night. Yeah, I did see that. It's ridiculous falling down there. Oh, when the United States was towed from Philadelphia, yeah, and they're sinking it off the coast of Florida for a reef. Yeah, Jacobus Olaf, go download the bill. It's on the congressional website. Piece of cake. That is a lot of ships. It is a lot of ships. Yep. And then we can do flight aware. That's the flight aware. You can see how many ships. Okay. Live flight tracker. Let's see how many planes are in the air. Okay. Now this is over the U.S. right now. That's the U.S. Look at that. It's 12:30 in the morning, and look at all those planes flying over the U.S. right now. Look at it across the Atlantic right there, folks. All those planes flying over the Atlantic right now. Look at that. That's insane. And look, nobody flying to South Africa. Actually, there are flights coming to South Africa. See, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's all these flights coming to South Africa. Yeah. Wow. Look at that. A lot of traffic around the world. I mean, it's a little scary. It's a little scary. Yep. Yep. Sort of highway. Yeah, not many visitors to South Africa. Yeah, exactly. Not many planes headed there. A lot more to Australia than to South Africa. Actually, a lot are leaving Australia right now because it's time to leave. Flights aren't really coming in Australia. Some are coming, but most are leaving. Whereas flights are starting to come into, well, should already be coming to South Africa right now. Was tracking your plane back to the U.S. Where are you, real Wesley Smith? Where are you? Why were so many by Recife? I don't know. Predetermined routes called airways. Exactly. A lot of airplanes. Goodness gracious me, air traffic controllers have to have their wits about them. Yeah, but that's the globe. Those things are far apart. Retired SAF pile. Okay. Planes over Israel. Yeah, there's not a single plane is flying over Israel right now. Well, yeah, there's a couple coming into Tel Aviv. So, what I like is you can actually watch them moving here. If you get the right angle here. Here you can watch them moving as it reports positions. Here's a plane coming into Tel Aviv right there. Let's see what that is. That is Atlas Air. That's a cargo flight from Spain coming into Tel Aviv. Okay, what's this one? That is El Al flight. Left Ben Gurion, headed to Munich. 3 hours and 36-minute flight. I love Flight Aware. Okay. And let's see what this one is. I don't know what that is. Going to Prague. Oh, that's the El Al going to Athens, Greece. El Al headed to Bucharest. Wow. So let's see what's coming in Egypt. Southwind Airlines, never heard of them. From Turkey to Sharm el Sheikh. Must be a charter thing. Let's go over here to Germany. Oof. Must be bad weather over Germany. Look at that. That's flying to Switzerland. Okay. Delta flying from Detroit to Munich. Arriving 6:57. They're almost there. Delta from Detroit to Munich. I've flown from Chicago to Munich. Cass Juggler, 70 Rand Super Chat. Thank you. Is it possible to ask someone from your healthcare to join you and explain to the people how American healthcare works? That's too complicated, Sue. Too complicated. Just look it up. No, military planes don't have transponders turned off. They have identification friend or foe on them. They have squawk for military flights. Lieutenant General of the 32nd Battalion, Dion Ferreira. Okay. Wow, I know the name. Stephen Orkia says, thank you for all the updates. You're very welcome. Do I have a favorite country beside my own? It's all time dependent. In the 1980s, it was Germany and Austria. In the 2000s, it was Botswana. Don't really know now. What was the news line about U.S. being restricted from flying? Someone asked your channel referees. No one's restricted from flying in the U.S. I don't know what you're talking about. There was a problem with South Africa not meeting some international requirements, maybe losing their license to fly internationally. 6 F-35 flying to us the other day. Wow. Well, that's different. Yeah, that's different. Those are fighter aircraft. That's different. But when I fly in a C-130, I fly in a C-17, the transponders are on. You're welcome, Eben van Wyk. Okay. All right, guys. Been at this for an hour and 40 minutes. It's going to be time to wrap it up here. So thanks for joining us. The audience is growing, but I need to go to bed. I'm also warm. It's pretty warm in here. So, all right. Thank you all very much. Be sure to hit the like button. And I'll see you tomorrow for the Sunday edition. Well, it's today now. So thanks, everybody. All right. Thanks for being here. You're very welcome. Y'all take care. God bless. Should we play Save South Africa on the way out the door? Let's do that. Cheers.
The land of gold sunsets and skies so blue. Mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it then shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme.